This is World Awakenings, the fast track to enlightenment with your host, Karl Gruber. World Awakenings is a podcast dedicated to opening your mind, your heart, and your eyes to the fact that the world's population is now, more than ever, awakening to all things spiritual, metaphysical, and enlightening, and just how they play an all-important role in our daily life. So join Karl on this enlightening experience as he interviews metaphysical and spiritual experts to discuss, debate, and delve deeply into the hows and whys of this worldwide awakening.
Hi guys, I'm Karl Gruber, author of the new book True Spirituality and the Law of Attraction, a beautiful symbiotic relationship. Are you tired of being caught in the web of negativity that our ego-driven world mandates as reality? Say one positive thing and all you hear is, get real, get your head out of the clouds and prepare for the worst. Well, I'm here to tell you that negativity is not reality, and that the opposite is true. This is why I have written and published this book. In my new book, I show you how you can walk hand in hand and in alignment with the law of attraction and eternal universal spiritual truths, which will allow you to make all the positive, loving, happy, abundant, and healthy things you desire your reality. Find out how you can become a consistent co-creator of your life with the universe and get out of that negative spiral of lack, attack, and judgment. Get your copy today of my new book, True Spirituality and the Law of Attraction, a beautiful symbiotic relationship by Karl Gruber, now available as an ebook and paperback on Amazon. Hey, welcome once again to the show World Awakenings, a fast track to enlightenment. I'm your host, Karl Gruber. Now, I've been doing this show since June 2018, and it continues to be my passion and purpose to bring the top experts, teachers, and masters in this world and beyond this world of all things spiritual, metaphysical, and enlightening, so we can explore these things beyond the veil that our 3D perceptions and limiting beliefs keep us from understanding. And now it's time to meet our guest here on episode number 189 of World Awakenings. Now we joyfully welcome Gloria Battini to our show. Gloria is a transformational guide, spiritual teacher, a medium, and an empathic visionary with a mission to empower humanity to transcend limitations and step into their highest potential. She envisions a new Earth, one where we live in harmony with the planet, the cosmos, and each other. I love that vision myself. Now, through her work, Gloria invites people to embrace self-empowerment, heal deeply, and align with their soul's true path. Born in Italy and now living in England, Gloria is now using her life experiences and extensive training to inspire others to overcome their limits and step into their new reality. With that all sounds absolutely wonderful, and welcome, Gloria, to World Awakenings.
Thank you so much, Karl. Thank you for having me. I'm super excited to be here.
Well, I know there's a little time difference here from where I live in the States, and I think it's like early evening there in the UK where you're at.
It is. It's 6 p.m., yes.
I hope we're not taking time from your dinner. So.
Not at all. No. It's a pleasure. It's a super pleasure to be here.
Well, let's find out about you. It seems that we all have our unique life journey that unfolds as our life path and mission. And from what I read, Gloria, your life path to this point has not been boring. So can you tell us how you found your way to becoming a spiritual teacher and healer and realizing that you're a medium?
Yeah, so it's been, like you said, it's been interesting. It's been interesting. I was reflecting on this actually earlier today, and I feel like I had multiple dads in this like life, just multiple different types of dads that I had, and they all brought me sort of here where I am now. And I feel that there was this early life part of me which was born into a family where, my parents divorced when I was 2 years old. So I was super little, didn't grow up with my parents together, did not see my parents together very much. And was like moved into a family with my uncle, my grandparents. So there was like love, but it was a family that came from extreme poverty. So the mindset was very closed, very judgmental, very much of lacking and very much of limiting, so of limits. So what I saw and what I was pushed to do, or the way that I was seen, was very, very strict in a way. There were narcissistic traits, amongst my parents and all that. So there's a little bit of that. And I know that there now, obviously, now that I've healed and I've had my journey and everything, looking back, I understand that they absolutely did the absolute best with what they had. But there was a lot of suppressing, conditioning, guilt, manipulation, loads of this sort of stuff, body shaming, like a lot of that. And so that early stage of life really gave me a certain conditioning to go out into the world. And then obviously with that certain condition, I was also bullied a lot in high school as well. And so with that kind of conditioning, then the people that I related to and that I chose to be in relationships with were of similar, what was familiar for me. So I ended up being in a relationship with a narcissistic man for about 15 years. And then when I started, it was in my 30s, in my early 30s, late 20s, early 30s, I had done all of the things that were requested of me. I had graduated university, gotten a job, demonstrated that I could do everything that they told me that I couldn't. I was kind of like proving myself. And then I got to my 30s and I'm like, now what? This is not great. I was riddled with anxiety, OCD. If anybody who's listening is not familiar with OCD is obsessive compulsive disorder. So is an anxiety disorder that pushes you to have certain compulsions and do certain things as part of your day because you have literally a debilitating fear that something bad is going to happen to you. And you do these kind of like rituals and things like around the house. So for example, for me, I had to check the doors and the curtains and the windows, or do things in a certain way or in a certain order. Like it's a very anxious, very like mind compulsion type thing. And I had about 40 of these every day.
Oh,
Yeah, it was not good, really not good. I was ready to go to work in the morning, and it would take me, ready for with my coat to go out. And by the time I was actually out, it was 40 minutes later. So yeah, it was a lot. It was really, really debilitating. So and I had this like in the morning, then throughout the day, then going to bed, like everything had to be done in certain ways. And I, came into my late 20s and I'm like, this isn't life. This is not good. This is not right. I've done everything that they told me that I couldn't achieve. I've achieved it. I am actually doing a job that is exactly what I've studied, and I've built a career out of it, and I've reached, a certain level in this job. And still, like, why am I here with anxiety, OCD? I can't function, right. And so that's when it dawned on me, and I wanted to find out what it was. So I asked for help. I went to see a coach, somebody who specialized in anxiety,
mm.
and she helped me a lot. And I'm telling you, Karl, when I walked in there, I did not think that I was going to find out that the problems I had were the problems that I had. The first thing that she asked me, because I remember the first session like very vividly, the first thing that she asked me, she's like, so tell me about your relationship with your husband. And the first thing that I said is like, oh my God, thank God he's here. Thank God, I had this like, thank God, he saved me. And then, a year and a half down the line, and I'm like, oh, wait a second, there's something really wrong in this relationship, you know? And so that was the like all of the ups and downs, a little bit of a recap of all of the ups and downs that have happened. But then with the coaching, then it opened sort of like a new way for me, which was great.
Wow, like I said, boy, it hasn't been boring for you. Oh my gosh.
Oh.
What is it with women and narcissistic men? I have a couple very lovely colleagues and friends who have been. I mean, you would never think they would be the type of person they get into this narcissistic relationship, and it's just brutal. But even also going back to, I mean, your childhood. I mean, you grew up in Italy, right?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
And I've never been there, so forgive me if I'm wrong, but my image is that Italy is very family and tight knit, family oriented, and yet you had all that ego, guilt, sin type of thing, shaming involved in that.
Absolutely, yes. And my grandmother was very religious, and even though she she was extremely I felt like if there's one person I felt unconditional love from in my life, it's definitely my grandmother. So I don't have anything that, like, she never hurt me. But obviously she was like raised Catholic and she was really religious herself. And I feel that there's a lot of guilt in that. There's a lot of guilt and a lot of conditioning that comes from there. And but I just think that that's just the way that she lived life, and then she passed it to her children, and obviously my mom then passed it on to me. And so it ended up not being about the religion anymore. It just became a way of life, the guilt, because it stopped. My mom is not a religious person, and she's not, she believes, but she's not, she doesn't go to church or she doesn't pray or anything like that. It's still, she leads a life that is full of guilt, and that's what she's passed on to me. So I think that that has a lot, that contributes a lot into that, setting, the religion that we grow up in. I also started going to Sunday school when I was 6.
Hmm.
And again, like the conditioning happens very early. So I think yeah, there's a lot of connection to that for sure.
Well, as we know, formalized religion has entrained the populace in guilt in order to control much of the population and the power and the money, and it continues to this day. I mean, not every religion is like that, but well, unfortunately, it evolves into families too. Wow, really interesting stuff. What was the job that you were doing before you went to that life coach?
I was a events director. So I worked for a hospitality company. We had different venues around London, and I was in charge of events, weddings,
Oh,
parties,
that'll
corporate
keep.
events.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm a certified law of attraction life coach. Maybe I can do a session with you. No, you don't. But and let's continue talking to Gloria Battini. And I do pronounce that right, Battini, right?
Yes, you do actually. Yes.
Well,
Thank
I'm
you.
part Italian. I don't know.
But you're a natural. You're a natural.
Oh yeah, all right. I want to find out, as a medium that you are, who has the ability to communicate with beings beyond the 3D veil of the bodily form. What was it like the first time you discovered that you could do this, and why is it important for you to have this ability?
I'm so glad you asked this question, Carl. I'm so glad because that's exactly why I'm here. You said, how did you find out that you had this ability? We all have it. We all have it. We are all psychic. We're all born with an intuition. We're all born psychic. And as you go to the gym to train, like you said, you run the marathon, right? You were telling me earlier. As
Right.
you go to the gym to train and run the marathon, you do the same with your intuitive abilities. You just train and practice and practice. Now, is it true that some people are already a little bit more open to it? Yes, absolutely. Yes, but it doesn't mean that only those people can do it. We all can, and it's a matter of intention. It's a matter of how, if you want to, you can. You absolutely can. For me, it actually really caught me by surprise because I've always had an interest. I've always been fascinated by mediumship, and I've always felt like this is what it is, like we feel energies around us. Even when people in my life, when I lost people in my life, I've always felt that their presence stayed in some way, their energy stayed. I could sense it around. Couldn't see them, but I could sense their presence around. And then I was when was that? I think it was 2019, 2020. And I was doing a session with a spiritual coach that I was working with at the time. And she said to me, she was doing a reading for me, and she's like, "Oh my God, Gloria, you have so many souls around you, so much energy." And I was like, "Yeah, I know. I can sense it." And she's like, "Do something about it." And I said, "What do you mean do something about it?" She said, "Well, yeah, do it, because not everybody senses it." And I genuinely thought that that's how everyone felt. I genuinely thought that I never had a full-on deep conversation about mediumship and feeling the dead, even though I was like interested in the subject. But I thought, it's a thing, that it's normal. But she said, "No, if I were you," she said, I would look into it, because you probably are a little bit more open than other people are." And so I did. So I started looking into it. I then also studied my own astrology. Astrology is a tool that I work with a lot, because it just makes a lot of sense to me. And a lot of things in my astrology pointed in that direction, which was, even more validation. And then when I trained and I started really um, uh, experiencing the techniques, um, and really seeing the souls coming through, and really having conversations, and really being able to connect, people to their loved ones. That is just the most amazing thing. Yes. But to begin with, I was a very sensitive child, and that was that for me. It was just that.
So what you're saying is people actually can take their inherent ability and train to be a viable medium, and I believe that's even true with channeling too.
Oh my goodness, yeah, 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 yeah. So we're all born psychic. We're all born with an intuition. What happens is, so imagine, so we come into this world as babies, right? So as a baby, we are born and we are completely free, right? I believe that we're never as free as we are when we're babies. Okay. So we're completely free. Nothing has been programmed into us. We have no conditioning. We're free. Maybe we have like past life experiences, something, around like ancestral things. But as ourselves like this is, we come completely free. And then, in the first years of our life, the brain develops in a way that in the first few years of your life, you learn the right and the wrong. You start to model people around you. You take on their beliefs, and then it goes up. First is your family, then is your communities, then is your peers, then is, the teachers and the places that you work at, then it's different communities, all of this sort of stuff. And all of that, there's a lot of all this conditioning that happens that disconnects you from that intuition, because it starts giving you the expectations of society, the fact that you need to have a job, or maybe you're born into a family, you want to be an artist, and you're born into a family where they don't believe that that's a valuable way to live your life, right? And so you get more and more and more disconnected. Um, but actually, psychicness and intuition, we all have it. They're all part of the like sixth sense that we all, we call it a sixth sense. It's actually like different clair abilities. Um, and that's what it is. And the main clair abilities are clairvoyance, which is the ability of see, clairaudience, which is hearing, clairsentience, which is when you feel energy in your body, somebody else's energy or different kind of energies, you feel them through your body. And then is the claircognizance, which is that clear knowing, the clear information that lands into you. And so we're all born this way. It's just about how much we get disconnected from it. But at any stage of your life, you can decide to reconnect this part of yourself. And it might take a little while, and it might take a little bit of work to get to undo all of the conditioning. I'm not saying it's going to be a walk in the park, but you can absolutely do it. Yeah.
Well, it's interesting. I think you earlier said that some people are just born with the inherent ability to immediately connect to those beyond the veil of the body. I had a guest a number of months ago, maybe a year or so ago, a medium, June Edwards, who is so attuned to him that she said she has woken up in the middle of the night with 50 souls standing around her bed wanting to communicate and get messages across. She said, "Can you guys wait and let me sleep until I wake up in the morning?" I mean, she has that much ability. But for you, I'm really curious. What are some of your most memorable experiences that you've had doing your mediumship communications? Anything scary, anything profound and rewarding?
Yeah. Not anything, nothing scary at all. No, nothing scary whatsoever. I've had loads of people, I actually felt people passing
Hmm.
multiple times. I actually felt people passing, and some of those experiences have been through dreams. So I saw this person passing, or somebody was showing me like a coffin, and then the day after that person has passed. So it has come through, which is even though it happens through a dream, it's still a mediumship experience. Yeah, so it's still like the same. Mediumship is just the middleman between one side and the other, essentially. That's all that is. So anyway, so it happens through dreams, but I also felt them passing, like I felt the person's going on the other side as I was awake, and I felt like there's definitely somebody transitioning, and then people coming to me and like, oh, do you know this person just passed? So it's the feeling of somebody moving from one side to the other. So that has happened to me a few times, and it's not scary at all. It's just a sensation that you get. It really isn't scary. But some really, really beautiful things have come from parents reconnecting with their children, reconnecting clients, hearing like the signs and the things that they showed me on the other side, and for them, reconnecting to how they're connecting with them. I remember, because I am a teacher on an app that's called Insight Timer. I don't know if you're familiar with the app. It's an app that where there's a lot of things for meditation. There's a lot of teachers that, some people do yoga, some people do Reiki, energy healing, loads of stuff. And I do loads of live events there, and some of those events are mediumship readings. And so I get to read all the time for the audience. And so I pick randomly from the audience, and I do these readings. And many times it has happened where well, actually, I remember this one. I absolutely love this one. So she wanted to speak to her mom, and I obviously have never seen this client before. She's the first time she reads with me and everything. Her mom has recently passed, and she wants to speak to her mom, and her mom comes through, and I just know the name of the mom, and I don't want them to tell me anything because I don't want to be influenced by, what they say. So I just let the soul of the person speak, and I just tell them, what can you tell me? And so this person is like, you need to tell her that I'm trying to speak to her. She's driving the car. She's thinking of me. You have to tell her that I am there with her, and then I am listening, and I am sending her things through the radio. She needs to hear the words. She needs to hear the songs and everything. And so I'm referring the message, and this woman is like, oh my God. She's like, I never feel the presence of my mom anywhere apart from when I'm in the car. And I can sense that she's literally sat next to me. And I said, she's asking you to hear the words of the songs because you're trying to find out some information. She was trying to find out how the mom passed, because it was something to do with the hospital. So she was trying to find information, and she was saying, you have to listen. I am listening to you. I'm hearing your questions. Just keep tuning in, keep listening, because the sign come. Sometimes I get really random things. I did a reading recently of someone, because you ask for signs, right? You want to ask for signs for the people that you read for. And sometimes are things that somebody would consider a sign, like a bird, like the classic sort of signs. But I'm always like, what about, I want to hear something that comes from the person, kind of thing, which, like, something that is like totally random. And I was doing this reading a couple of weeks ago, and it was tuned into the father of my client, and she asked for a sign, and he said, oh, I'm going to send you a heart-shaped soap, and I'm going to put it in a gift box, in a gift wrapping, in a gift box, and you know that that's going to be me, and I'm going to send you this because I love you, da da da. And then a week later, she sends me a picture. She goes into her friend's car, in the car, and she goes, look what I found. Her friend has a heart-shaped soap in the car that is wrapped up as a gift. And she's like, what is it doing here? And her friend had, picked it up somewhere, but it was so unusual for it to be there. And these kind of stuff are happening all the time. Sometimes I see somebody tells me, "Oh, I'm gonna come." Another client of mine, actually, we connected to her mom, and she said, "Oh, we asked her mom for a sign. She said he's going to be a robin." And she sends me a message. She texts Gloria, "There's about 30 robins in my garden right now all together."
Yeah.
So it's like these ways of communicating, they're always present. It's just such a beautiful experience. And it's also healing. Yeah, it's incredibly healing.
Well, I guess this is kind of an off the wall question. Can you also communicate with beings or entities that are maybe of galactic origin who have never been human?
I have had experiences of that like that. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I have. There's a bit more when it comes to, and this is what I want to say actually with regards to developing your psychic abilities. If you're thinking of, like how can everybody be a medium, if this is something that you're thinking of. So once you train, you have to understand that your mind has been conditioned to think that being a medium is special, right? That is something that only a few people can do, right? So your mind is going to think that. And the whole thing about being a psychic or being a medium is bypassing what your analytical mind is saying and going into your intuition, right? And so when you finally get to connect and you speak to the souls on the other side, your mind is going to go, "You're making it up. It's not true," right? You can't be that special. It can't be, you come from like a little village in Italy. You were raised this way. You cannot possibly do that. It's not special enough, right? So it's a constant battle, especially at the beginning, with the analytical mind like coming in the way. And it's the same when it comes to entities. There's many entities, spirit guides, entities from like different planets and all that I connect with all the time. But sometimes still to this day, when I connect to a different entity, I'm like, "Oh, wait a second. Am I that special?" But then I think about it again and I'm like, no, actually we all are, because we all have this ability to connect. So of course we're doing it, you know?
Well, I think that we're probably, of course, we can only see in this 3D dimension, that we're probably so surrounded by so many beings and forces and energies that we have no clue. I mean, I'm probably sitting in a room that's completely crowded right now, and they're all, part of the show. One of my favorite lines from A Course in Miracles is, if you knew the powerful companions that go forth with you on a daily basis, fear would be impossible." So I walk with what I call Team Carl. They're with me all the time.
Oh my goodness. Yes. Yes.
I was wondering, I don't, if possible, can you sense anything with me? I mean, can you do a little reading for me? Is there anybody who wants to send me a message or anything right now?
Yes, of course, I can do that for you. I just need a moment to just go into that space, if that's okay. And then would you like me to connect with somebody who has passed for you, or would you like me to tune into your energy?
Why don't you tune into my energy?
Your energy and see what's there. Yeah? Okay, sure. Just give me one moment. I just need to tune in. Okay. So, Carl, what's really important, and I'm going to say this for the people who are listening as well. So, if you ever have a reading, make sure that if somebody's working with your energy, they ask you permission to access your energy. Okay. It's very, very important. Don't work with someone that doesn't ask permission to access your energy. And make sure that they separate from your energy as well at the end of the session, because there's a lot of confusion and you want to, energetic boundaries are very, very important, because we can be very alert of our physical boundaries. And if somebody's like bumping into you or trying to put their hands on you, you're like straight away, right? But when it comes to energy, we can't, like you said, we can't see it that much. And so it's very important that we keep those boundaries very, very solid. So I'm going to ask you for permission to read your energy. And are you okay to say your name and surname out loud as to give me permission? Is that okay?
Oh, yeah, you have my
Yeah.
permission.
Okay. So no, I'm going to ask you to say your name. And then I will tell you how I'm seeing your energy. And in order to do that, I'm just going to describe it as the metaphor of a rose initially, just to give you an idea of like the colors and what comes up. I'll guide you through it, and then we'll see what's around you. Yeah. So if I have permission to access your energy, can you say your name and surname out loud for me, please?
Karl William Gruber.
All right. Okay. So I can see your rose there. Okay, so your rose today, and again, so I'm gonna explain this to you as I'm doing it. So the way that I'm seeing your rose today, this is just a surface reading of the rose. Essentially, it's just how your energy is coming across today. If I were to read for you another day, the rose might appear different. Okay, but as you're coming across today, your rose is dark blue and it feels like velvet. It feels like a beautiful velvet. And it's not like super open. It's like, it's kind of like just about to blossom. You know, as you would go and buy a rose, from the florist, that they are just about to blossom like that. And it's a dark, like a midnight blue. And it's very velvety. It feels like the petals feel like actual velvet. It's like very thick. Um, I'm just gonna go and have a look at your stem. So the stem is bright green. Today I'm seeing a bright green, and there's no thorns. Now, thorns have different meanings. They don't mean the same thing for everyone. Um, but you don't have any today, so we can go carry on. So the stem is connected to past lives, and it's going to give us an idea of how many incarnations you might have had. And definitely, Carl, this is not your first rodeo, yeah? You've been here many times. You've been here many times. So definitely I can see that the stem is very long. And it goes like really, really far down. So I can't really see the end of it, which again to me says that is a soul that's I've been here, has been here many times. And then the last thing that I'm going to look for, just as your energy is coming up today, I'm going to look at light above or around your rose. Oh, wow, there's a beautiful beam of light that is coming all the way from your left, so my right and your left-hand side from here. And it's got loads of like little sparkles. It feels like you're soaking up the light. It feels like you're soaking up the light and almost like this spiritual connection for you. It's not necessarily just about comfort, but it's about something more. Hang on. It's not just about comfort, it's about enlightening, it's about opening up, it's about seeing things differently. It's about going a level higher and a level deeper at the same time. It feels like that. It's like this beautiful connection with spirit where it gives a lot of expansion. Do you find that your connection with spirits, it actually expands you a lot?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. And it goes, yeah, like I said, like a level higher and a level deeper. And it feels like you're here to just soak this energy up. There's a lot that spirit is giving you, and you're just meant to take it all. You're just meant to take it all. I feel like you're very aligned with what you're doing, with the podcast and everything, because it feels like this constant beam of light that is coming onto your rose. It feels like literally spirit is passing you all this information and you're meant to share it. This is what it feels like. Literally. Yes. Really beautiful. Okay, let me see what's around you. Who or what's around you? Let's have a look. Okay, let me see what I sense. So, for Carl's highest and best good, who does he need to see today, or what does he need to be made aware of today? Okay, so there's someone that is on your back, on your right hand side, just behind your shoulder, and she's a female energy. and she's a protection. And you need to know that she's there. I'm just going to ask her to come forward and see who she is. Yeah. But I feel that you know her. Wait a second. I feel that this is someone that you know. And do you have your mom on the other side, Carl?
Oh, yes, for many years.
Yeah. Yeah. I have a feeling that that is her. Wait a second. I'm just going to allow her to come through a little bit more. Can I see you? Can I see you a little bit more, please? Just come forward. Yes, thank you. Okay, wow. Okay, okay. So she has this beautiful, pure energy. She feels very pure. She feels very, hmm, I don't feel like your mom was a very corruptible person. I feel like was she like really like grounded in her, in herself, what she wanted. She was like, this
Oh,
is what
yeah.
I believe, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm getting this energy. She's not very corruptible at all. Yes. Hang on. Can you tell me your mom's name, Carl?
Anne, Anne.
Anne. Yes. Well, you wanted Carl to see you. What is it that you would like to say to him today? Okay, so she has her hands on your shoulders like this, and she's saying, uh, she's saying, steady, steady, just go steady. You're doing it right. You're doing it right. Just go steady. She's protecting you, but she's also kind of like helping you stay on course, if that makes sense. Oh, there's something else. Yeah. Sorry for the mic, because I'm Italian. I talk with my hands all the time, and I get my eyes closed, and I can't see what I'm doing. Okay. Yes. What else did you want to say, Anne? Okay. There's something. Can you say it? Can you do it a little bit louder for me, please? Or show me differently? Yeah. Okay. So she has your back. Is there something that you're um feeling challenged with, or maybe some decision or something that's coming up for you that is making you feel like a little bit worried or a little bit unsettled?
Yeah, probably more than one thing.
Okay. She's saying, hang on. Is one of those things to do with your health?
A little bit right now. Yeah, a little bit concerning, which is unusual for me.
So she's saying that she's got your back. Um, she's saying that you're doing what you need to be doing. So she's saying keep doing what you need to be doing, but she's saying she's got your back, and she's like giving you this like energy through your shoulders. She's like guiding you like that, and she's like, "Don't worry, I've got your back. I've got your back. I'm holding you." Yes, can you show me that again, Anne? Okay. She also wants to tell you that she's with you when you eat. Show me that you're eating. And she's like, I'm there. I'm just making sure that you're always okay. She's saying, I'm just making sure that you're always okay. And you shouldn't be worried. Um, yeah, she's got your back. And she's definitely not the only one that's got your back. But for now, she's the one that's come forward today because she specifically wanted you to know that it was her being there, having your back.
Hmm.
But she is very much in your daily life as well. Do you talk to her much, Carl?
Not really, no.
Mm. Mm. That's why she would love you to. She would love you to. When they showed me that they are in someone's daily life, like they see them eating, like that, like she just showed me for you, is always very much about, I'm still here, kind of like you can still talk to me, you can still share like your thoughts, your fears, you know, I'm listening kind of thing. So she wants you to know that she's there because she wants you to know that you can speak to her. You can speak to her.
Okay.
Yes, yeah. Okay, so she's also saying that she is also one of your spirit guides. So she's not just herself like on the other side, but she's also supporting you as a spirit guide. Are you here as a spirit guide just for Karl, just like for a specific thing or just in general? Okay, so she's stepping up as a spirit guide with regards to this health thing for you.
Hmm.
So she wants you to know that she's there and she's looking after you from the energetic and spiritual point of view. She's got your back there.
Awesome.
And you can totally speak to her if you want to. Do you want to ask her anything, Karl?
Oh, gosh, jeez, I didn't know Mom was going to show up.
Oh, bless.
Oh, let's see. No, I just am grateful, and it doesn't surprise me that she's here because the table that I'm doing this interview with you at is a table I've sat at since I was 5 years old. This table, I've sat here with my mother and my father. I've had Thanksgiving dinners and Christmas dinners, and I've had relatives sitting here, girlfriends from throughout my. This is the same table. This table is probably 80 years old, and I still have it. And I do my podcasts. I talk to lovely people like you. So there's a lot of energy around this table, and I'm not surprised my mom is here, especially when I eat, because she used to serve me dinner on this table.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I was wondering it when you said that, and maybe that's also why she showed me that picture as well, you know, of you specifically eating at the table. Yeah, that could also be that. Oh, bless.
Well, thank you, Mom. Not bad for a little Slovenian girl.
Oh, let me just are you sure if you don't want to ask her anything, if you feel complete, I can send her your love.
Yeah, because this interview is about you. I'm sorry if
Yeah,
this is
sure.
all about
No,
me.
no.
Thank you, Mom. I appreciate it, and I will sense her. I know she is here, so thank you very much.
Absolutely. Let me just send her your love, and then I'm just gonna make sure that I separate from your energy, yeah? Just give me one moment. Thank you, Anne. Thank you so much. Okay. So let me just separate from your energy. 1 second. Okay. Perfect.
Wow,
Done.
I didn't expect that.
You see, it's the beauty of this. Like you never know what's gonna come up. You never know who or what.
Yeah, it's interesting. It was just one last thing because, like I said, I didn't mean for that to take up so much time because this show is about you.
But
I
that's what I do anyway. So there you go.
Yeah, and I mentioned this table because I mean there's so much energy. Many times I think it's time for me to get a new table so that I can transition to maybe a different uh, period of my life. I mean I'm literally sitting here, like I said, with everybody that's been involved in my life in any key way, shape, or form. I've sat here at this table talking and eating with them.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Beautiful.
Well, we are talking to the amazing Gloria Battini, who a medium, and she does a lot more. That was pretty amazing. Thank you for that. We've got a few more minutes here, so what I would like to ask you, I read about you. You talk a lot about the emergence of a new Earth. What is that new Earth that you envision, and why is it emerging now?
Yes. So this new earth that I envision is all connected to us coming home to ourselves. I feel that we're here on a main journey, each and every one of us, and it's the journey of coming back home, right? And I feel that in the past few years, there have been a lot more people feeling the need to come back home to themselves, feeling the call to come back home to themselves. There's been a lot of spiritual awakenings and everything. And so, what I envision is this new earth where we walk this path of coming home to ourselves. And the way that it's built is through so the more we are home with ourselves, the more we show up in a different way in the world, isn't it? So if we are home, we interact with other people in a different way. So we're more open, we're more tolerant, we don't have judgment. We appreciate people for who they are. We see the good in people, we see the genius in people, and we don't want to control them, but we actually just want to let them be themselves and shine because there's no competition. Because we're each and every one of us is here with a specific thing, a reason why they shine, a thing that makes them themselves. And instead of attacking that, we're actually bringing that out, right? But we can only do that, we can only be that way with other people if we are at home. Because if we're not, we're constantly fighting with evil, we're constantly fighting with judgment, we're constantly fighting with expectations, we're constantly fighting with what society tells us, we're being distracted from the outside, right? And so I feel that we can build that new earth. We can build an earth where there's harmony, where there's collaboration, where there's openness. And the first thing that we have to do is come home to ourselves. And the one single purpose behind every single thing that I do, being, an intuitive development teacher, a medium, Akashic records, whatever it is, but behind every single thing that I do is the drive to just help more and more people come home to themselves.
Mhm.
Because we all want more harmony. We all want more joy. We all want to get rid of the wars. We all want to get rid of racism. We all want to get rid of all these things, don't we? And so how can we do it if we're not home ourselves first, right? It's about starting with the man in the mirror, isn't it? So,
Well, I'm all about the emergence of the new Earth. I mean, I have had um, galactic beings coming through. I've spoken to the Palladians and Athela, from the Sirius B, coming through some trance channels, and I've had mediums and clairvoyants on here channeling, Metatron and all that, and they're all talking about humanity is now at this point in time and history is on the verge of a transition into a higher plane of consciousness and love. And heck, I'm looking at my bookshelf over here and I see Eckhart Tolle's book, New Earth, which is one of my favorite books by him from years ago. And so it's not a new topic, but I think it's an exciting time. And you said, like me, I've obviously not my first rodeo. I've had many lifetimes, and I'm sure you have. We chose to come here now at this time to experience this emergence into the new earth.
yeah, we have. And I don't know if you have many friends who have children, small children, but I am seeing how small children, because we of our age are coming more and more home to ourselves, then the children now are not being suppressed. So when
Mhm.
they're showing their psychic abilities, when they're showing their authenticity, when they're showing how much they're connected, they are not being silenced anymore. They're being allowed to speak. They're being allowed to be themselves. I have friends with small children, and one of my friends a couple of weeks ago, we were talking on the phone, and she said, she told me that she was my parent. She told me she was my mom in another life. And she's like, do you think she's imagining it? And I said, she's not. She is more on the other side than she is on this one. She's 3. She's
Yeah.
way more on the other side than she is on this one. She has not experienced enough of this life to understand even what it means to be somebody's mother. And yet here she is telling you, Mom, I know that I was looking after you at one point. So let's see the children. Let's see them. Let's give them let's not suppress them. Let's not take them for granted. Let's not dismiss that for making it up, or imagination. Let's just give them the opportunity to express freely what they're seeing, without judgment. Let's just allow them to be themselves. And I think that the more we do that, if we come home to ourselves, then they'll come into this world when they're already at home.
Yeah, I don't have children, but it is very obvious when I encounter small children, and even adolescents. I mean, it's very obvious that kids aren't the way they used to be. They are definitely on a whole new level of sensitivity and well, I guess you could use the term enlightenment in ways that we don't understand.
Yeah, Yeah, absolutely. And I think that if we who have been here for a little while longer and perhaps have been, people in a society that had a lot more conditioning and a lot more judgment, let's allow the children to teach us. Let's be open. If there's one thing that infuriated me completely from my childhood, and is one of the things that hurts me the most, is what was when I was told, you are a child, you don't understand.
Mm.
You cannot grasp this. You're a child, you don't understand. When actually I had way more empathy and sensitivity than my parents, right? So now looking back, I'm like, wait a minute, actually, that I knew, like I could understand that, right? So I'm like, let's just give them the chance to teach us a little bit the things that we don't know yet, and let's trust them.
Actually, when that occurred to you as a small child, it's a good thing you didn't say, "Well, actually, you don't understand, but I do," and then slap.
I know, right? Yeah, 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 yeah.
Well, Gloria, this is absolutely amazing. I'm one last question for you. What has been the biggest change in your life now that you've found your life purpose?
Um, the main thing for me, other than the fact that I feel at home, um, I I always feel supported. I never felt alone ever again.
Mm,
I never felt that I had to carry the pain alone, you know? Like especially with my purpose is very connected to the spiritual world, is very connected to intuition and to spirit guides and all that. And after I did the training and I really opened myself up to understanding, because there's sensitive people and there's a lot of empaths and sensitive people out there, but there's one thing is feeling the energy, and one thing is knowing how to utilize it and knowing how to tune into it and how to read it. That's why you want to train, right? Because otherwise you just have a bunch of energy that comes to you and you don't know what to do with it. And so the understanding how to utilize this part of myself, I have never felt alone again.
mm.
I felt like whatever was happening, and I've had some, scary challenges in the past few years, but I always felt it's okay. We're gonna make it through because I'm not on my own. I'm a multidimensional beings. I am here with my spirit guides. Connected to people on the other side. Like I know that there's support, and it's all part of my own multidimensionality. So if there's one thing that I think is worth for, if you ask me, is it worth to getting trained to, being able to utilize your intuitive abilities? For that alone, yes. Even if you don't want to be a psychic, even if you don't want to be a medium, even if you don't want to do this as your profession, but just for the fact that you will know how to connect with your multidimensionality and how to read energy and utilize energy just in your own life, yes, just for that, it's worth it.
Well, I'm curious, has your relationship with your friends and your family changed since they discovered that you are a medium and can do these things?
Yeah, yeah. So there are friends who have been very curious and very supportive and very open. And there are friends who just stopped asking questions.
Mhm. Mhm.
Who just stopped asking questions. Who just like sort of like exited themselves a little bit. But it's also great because this is how the people that truly value you, this is how who is in your life and for what reason.
Well, no, I was just going to say, I guess we all realize that um, whether family or friends or casual acquaintances, they all come in our life at the right time in the right way, and then they exit out of our life too. And it's part of the divine plan and the way we planned it when we came here into this life.
Yeah, yeah, it really is. It really is. Um, it's so interesting. It's so
Yeah.
interesting. And it doesn't even mean that we're not going to get to meet them again. Maybe later down the line, we find that we suddenly have something else and gravitate towards each other again. But for sure, I think that the more you show up as your most authentic, the more you come back to you, the more you will see. And usually the people that are open to you are the people who are also coming home to themselves, if you notice, that they're not scared.
Well, Gloria Battini, you are an absolutely amazing person and being, filled with light and helping bring love and understanding to individuals in the world and here in the new earth. And thank you so much. How can people best connect to you? What's your website? I know you do workshops, etc.
Yeah. So you can go to my website, gloriabattini.com, and you'll see a little bit more about what I do and the different kind of experiences and sessions that I have. But if you are on the Insight Timer app, I am a teacher there. You can find me. My name and surname, Gloria Battini, and you can experience some of the readings that I do, because I do 2 or 3 lives each week. And they're all different. I do moon ceremonies, I do mediumship readings, I do energy readings, tarot readings, Akashic records. Like I keep it varied because I like to give that back to the community. So if you feel like you want to experience something like that, we have a beautiful community on there. The Insight Timer app is absolutely amazing. And I'm also on Instagram at Gloria Battini. So
Yeah, absolutely. And it is wonderful. And folks, you just saw her listen here. She did a reading for me a little while ago with my mom. Hi, Mom. So, all right. Gloria, thank you so much. What a blessing to have you on World Awakenings.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Carl. It's been a pleasure. I'm super grateful. Thank you so much. Thanks.
This has been another episode of World Awakenings, the fast track to enlightenment with host Karl Gruber, a certified law of attraction life coach. We welcome you to tune in to each and every episode of World Awakenings as we open your mind, your heart, and your eyes to the fact that the world's population is now more than ever awakening to the truth of all things spiritual, metaphysical, and enlightening, and just how much they play an all-important role in our moment-to-moment daily life. Much love and light to you, my friend, and thank you for tuning into World Awakenings.